Bitcoin miner capitulation is what we're going to be talking about, plus Solana, Hex, and much more. Okay, so right now we have the worst capitulation, of Bitcoin miner capitulation since 2016. And depending on what graph you look at, it could be ever, which is really interesting. But I'm not worried about that because we all saw what happened with China, where the government banned miners there. And what happened? They dispersed and they got off the state grid and had renewable energy that was powering the Bitcoin miners. Now it's anti-fragile and there's no way of shutting it down, which is really cool. This is just temporary, in my opinion, just because Bitcoin is well under its 200 moving day average. And yeah, it's going to recover. I'm not worried one bit. Okay, moving on. Institutions aren't investing in Bitcoin. They're adopting it, okay? So back in 2017, there was 12 institutions that had adopted Bitcoin. Now we are at 572,317 institutions that are adopting Bitcoin. Keep in mind that back in 2020, there was 282. Do you see the hockey stick that is happening right now? And people wonder why I'm bullish on Bitcoin, especially at these prices. And I don't care if it goes to 10,000, 11,000, 12,000. I couldn't care less. I'm buying Bitcoin. And you know what? When it goes to $100,000, $200,000, I'm not going to care. I'm not going to think back, man, I should have waited that extra 10% on Bitcoin or whatever, I should have waited for the 13,000. That might not even come. You know what I mean? So this is why I'm bullish on Bitcoin and the entire space, especially DeFi. But I'll get into that in a second. Billionaire investor Bill Miller says in an interview with Barron's that he's surprised after the FTX collapse that Bitcoin is even near $17,000. Yeah, keep in mind, okay, so let's go back into history. 2022 in June, we had a 26% crash because of the lending platforms like Anchor Protocol, Luna, and all that stuff, right? That was pretty big, but it wasn't even close to as big as what we're experiencing now with Digital Currency Group, Genesis, BlockFi, FTX collapse, which was $10 billion, and much more. And, the ripple effects that are happening. And we still only fell 11%. So the bears are experiencing what you call the law of diminishing returns, right? So there's so much more energy that was put, downward pressure energy that was put on Bitcoin and crypto during the last couple months. And it only brought it down 11%. Compared to 25% back in June. So yes, I think we are very close to a bottom. I think a lot of these big bears, these super wide open, loud bears are probably going to be wrong. But you know what? Time will tell. I couldn't care less either way. I'm in it for the long run. And that's it. Okay. Next up, inflation is going to keep rising. I've been saying this over and over and over again. I get a lot of crap for that. I don't care. I've been saying that inflation is going to rise. I think steel went up 156% last year, and lumber went up 127%. Right? That's real inflation. But here's some government inflation for you. I'm just going to go over a couple countries. So Argentina, obviously, 92% government inflation. It's much more. Turkey, 84%. Let's go down to the Euro area, 10.1%. Okay. And the UK, 11%. Almost 11%, and so on. So the US is 7.1%. These are government figures. They aren't including food and fuel, which is much higher. Okay, coming up. And let me rewind really quick. Bitcoin thrives during monetary inflation, just letting you know. That's what's happened. That's why Bitcoin went from under a cent back in 2010 to now where we're at almost $17,000. That's monetary inflation right there. Okay. Credible sources for Hex, talking about Hex, say that this SEC is looking into whether Hex, Pulse Chain, and PulseX did illegal crowdfunding. All right, so this is Richard Hart. He received $1 billion in participants in over a year. Okay, and Pulse Chain is yet to be launched. We'll see what happens. I'm not wishing bad for any project out there. If it works, it works. Sweet. But keep in mind, that is a big danger that's happening right now with Hex and Pulse Chain. Next up, Bitcoin above $1 million could pose a huge risk and make things very unstable. What do I mean by that? Okay, at these corresponding capitalizations, Bitcoin becomes a true challenger to fiat. This is from Willy Woo, okay? Thus, it's a price range where fiat collapses. So $1 million Bitcoin means that fiat is collapsing. Thus, the forces pushing Bitcoin prices becomes binary, like breaking the sound barrier. There's increasing bearish pressure on Bitcoin as it approaches fiat market caps, while governments suppress it. Okay, governments are definitely suppressing the price of Bitcoin. Okay, if the barrier is broken, Bitcoin gets bullish pressure and escapes towards infinity. So that means there's no price cap on Bitcoin once we break that barrier, which could potentially happen even with what you call central bank digital currencies. The people that don't want to participate in that are going to be transacting with Bitcoin, in my opinion. I think that's going to play a huge role in this new centralized new world order. Okay, next up, Solana's TVL, total value locked, is now has dropped by 98%. Ouch. And DGods, which is one of their biggest NFTs on Solana, is switching from Solana to Ethereum because I don't blame them. Like, a lot of people are bagging on DGods or whatever. I don't blame them because it's a more sure thing for Ethereum than it is with Solana. Nobody knows what's going to happen with Solana. I have a couple NFTs on there. If you want to check out what NFTs I'm in, the link is down below for our CT Club. But it is very risky right now, especially with Alameda owning over 13% of Solana. Who knows when they're going to dump it? Lastly, I'll go over $9.6 trillion asset manager Fidelity files for trademark applications for NFT marketplace and crypto trading services. NFTs aren't going anywhere. Like, people can wish all they want for NFTs to go somewhere. They're not. They're here to stay, and that's why I've been buying a couple NFTs lately. So that's all I have. Please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.